P.A.W. and the Straining Constipation by overlord-flinx. Chapter 2. There comes a moment in time when you look inside yourself, at the moments leading up to where you are at this time, and you have to ask yourself, was it worth it? Was accepting that dinner party a good idea? Was reaching for those extra nachos the best move? Was it smart to ignore your rumbling stomach at the party and say, "No, it's fine, I'll just have some ginger ale when I get home"? Were these smart choices? If only you knew. If only you knew before it all came crashing down on you like a fallen temple. Daring do, adventurer extraordinaire, and darer of the do not, clenched within the enclosed sanctuary she had hurried to. She wished she had only the time and strength within her to burst out from this entrapment, soar across the sky to the north, and return to her own home. But what strength she had was used pressing and straining every fiber of her being. The outside world relentlessly beat against her, forcing the adventurer to block everything out and focus on what may be her final task. Tap, tap, tap went the wood door that divided Daring Do from the rest of the world. But she barred to ignore it. Even with mixed voices awkwardly came through from the other side, Daring only blocked it out harder. "Miss Yelling?" Daring's face was already burning with strain, but it only got worse when embarrassment and shame entered the mix with the voices calling her. Do you need something? Help. Something. Both of these things would have been a great load off of her. But this was a load she couldn't pass on to anyone else. Sweating and sweltering from her own constant strain, Daring Do steadied her voice and spoke as clearly as she could through the wooden divide. No, I am perfectly... A few swift lashes of her hoofs into the groaning stomach granted a momentary reprise from the sound. Perfectly fine. Just go about your business. I'll be out in a minute. Not a lie, but certainly not the truth either. Daring Do silently reflected upon the choices she made that wound her up trapped here, alone and bearing one heavy load. It was such a simple moment, innocent in design and not a speck of mischief to be found in it. She couldn't have known how wrong everything would have gone when she first opened the door to that pinky pony. Good morning, Miss Do-Yelling Lady Hat! Rainbow and Twilight are really big fans of yours, but you probably already know that. So, I thought it'd just be the greatest if we had a party for Yelling and her fans so that they might mingle and chat and get to know each other. And then I thought that was a great idea. That's why I came all the way to your rundown house in the middle of nowhere to ask you if you'd be the guest of honor for my Daring Do party. After all, you can't have a Daring Do party without Daring Do, right? God, that's just nuts! A life of near solitude and secrets all compromised by die-hard fans. Maybe it was for the best, she thought. Maybe a little time in the limelight would do some good. Maybe indulging in a little party all for her would do her some good. Maybe that's why she said yes and went to this Ponyville. However, that was her first grave mistake. That mistake alone didn't wind her up where she was now. No, it was another more previous mistake. One that she would never forget. Oh, what are these? They're just, spectacular. They're called nachos, aka Miss Yelling, Daring Do, whatever you want to call me is fine. Don't you sweat it for a second. Now, tell me more about these nachos. In all her life of tasting forbidden fruits, exotic delights, and long-lost delicacies, never in all her adventures did Daring Do ever taste something as perfect as the nacho. It was divine. It was more beautiful than all the treasure in all the world she had seen. And yet, it was why she was where she is now. Squatting, straining, sweltering and swearing. Her mind drifted back to the countless boulders she had escaped in all her life, none of which felt as heavy as what she was going through now, nor would they ever compare after. Miss Yelling, I can call the town doctor if you want. The voice of a massive fan of her exploits was now offering to call a doctor. Her reputation as a daring doer was over. No, she thought. She wouldn't be defeated, humiliated, or shamed so easily. Her body hardened, pulling on all her reserves. Pulling the sapphire stone? Child's play. Pilfering the griffin's goblet? In her sleep. Traversing the terrifying tower? Backwards. Snatching the ring of destiny? Not a problem. She could do this like she could do anything. The ponies outside cringed and staggered back from the wooden door dividing them from Daring Do herself. Anguish-fueled cries sounded from the sanctuary Daring Do help herself up in. Stomach-turning, head-turning, eye-popping cries and wails of profanity and mingled relief, one after the other without reprieve. Minutes, perhaps hours later, everything fell silent like a calm after the storm. The 6 mares outside the door exchanged awkward, awe-filled looks to one another before the sound sent them back to looking at the door. The sound of a faucet turning and running water made them all hold their collective breath before they saw the bathroom door open, revealing Daring Do standing proudly before them all. With a subtle but effective huff followed by a proud strut past the collective of 6 mares, Daring Do smiled in triumph. "Another adventure cleared," she said, trailing a roll of toilet paper against her back hoof. Watching the adventuring mare go through the lot of them, Rainbow Dash couldn't help but have an exploding smile cross her face. "She is so awesome!"
We here at Pony&Wolf Productions thank these amazing patrons of ours for their monthly support, without which all of this would not be possible. We sincerely appreciate it, and every dollar helps, is needed, and will be used to keep us going to produce audiobooks for your continued enjoyment. It is, now more than ever, important that you support your favorite creators if possible, due to YouTube changing in a way that is not very friendly to content creators. Especially small content creators, like us. In recent months, the names you see on screen have enabled Midnight and Visual Pony to keep going and only having to sell off part of their belongings to not end up on the street. As an incentive for everyone, Visual Pony has broken a vow and has promised to read and record Fallout Equestria, Murky number 7, should the monthly support reach $1,500. To be clear, this is the absolute minimum amount needed to keep the apartment and all bills paid without starving, while a production of this size is ongoing. The estimated time for this production would be 3 to 4 years, but people already said that Project Horizons was impossible to do, right? And now look who did it, so with Pony&Wolf, you know we can finish the job. For further information on how to support us, please have a look at the description of this video, as there are also other ways, like our merch store. Sincerely and forever yours, your Pony&Wolf team.